Hi, Rondo. Welcome back
Hey,
to the Insurgent Mindset.
hey, Matt, it's great to be back. How are you?
Oh, I'm really well, and I'm looking forward to this morning's conversation. We have a guest today, so maybe give us a little bit of an overview of what we're going to cover today.
Yeah, so today we're going to be joined by Ramiro Perez, and Ramiro is the head of international at Mabe, one of the most respected and longstanding players in the large appliance industry. And what makes this conversation, I think, so relevant today is that Mabe's balancing legacy and innovation, agility and maturity, and global scale and local relevance, which I think many of our listeners will probably be balancing as well. And so we're going to dive into how Mabe, a company that's actually been around for 80 plus years, is keeping its edge, especially in a sector that some perceive as being slower moving or maybe even commoditized in some areas. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation. I think we can just jump right into it.
All right, well, that's great. So, Ramiro, welcome. We'll get Ramiro in here.
He's
Hello.
joining us right now. Now we can see
Yeah.
you. Hey, Ramiro.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you on the Insurgent Mindset. We're thrilled to have you with us today. So I'm just going to jump right into it, Ramiro. Let's start by grounding the conversation with a bit about your background and your journey to becoming the head of international at Mabe.
Sure, Rondo. Well, I'm born and raised in Mexico, and I've had the opportunity to be with this company for more than 30 years. So it's been a long but a very interesting journey. But also as part of my experience, I had the opportunity to work for GE Appliances, our partner in the U.S. In the U.S. for a few years. It was quite a learning process and a very interesting time in my life. No, I also went to school in the U.S. to get my MBA, and now I'm heading the international division of this corporation.
Terrific,
Awesome.
Ramiro. So that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to this conversation for a couple of reasons, Ramiro. I think your sort of position in the market and all the change that's happening, particularly in this sector with supply chain and innovation and presumably, international competition, just going to be really interesting. So maybe just as a way to help our listeners, can you give us 2 or 3 minutes about the Mabe portfolio, some of the principal markets in which you operate, and then maybe what are 1 or 2 or 3 of the biggest challenges that you face looking over the horizon?
Sure, Matt. As I said before, we are in the industry of major household appliances. No, it's a Mexican company, although we have partners now in China, and we operate in more than 75 countries. And let me clarify that we sell in more than 75 countries around the world. No, the headquarters of the corporation are located here in Mexico City. And we have our own commercial operations in many countries in the Americas. In Canada, for example, we run our business in that country. In every country, and we're present in every country in Latin America. We have also our manufacturing footprint is quite interesting because we have three mega factories here in Mexico. Uh, in these factories, we make they're specialized on certain products, cooking, refrigeration, and laundry products. And we supply the US and the rest of the Americas and the rest of the world out of these factories. But we also have manufacturing operations in other countries in Latin America, such as Colombia, Argentina, and Ecuador.
Okay, terrific. So looking at the global sort of competitive environment, Ramiro, what would you describe as sort of your three principal challenges going forward?
Yeah, well, we have, as any other corporation, big challenges, no? But in particular in our industry, there are just a handful of important players, no? And one of the biggest companies in the world is actually our partner, Haier. They're based in China. It is a company with revenues of a little bit more than 56 billion US, a leader in this industry. But when you bring that to the Americas, we have also a partner in the US, General Electric, and Mabe is a supplier of products to GE in the US, but also, as I was explaining before, because of our manufacturing footprint and the markets we handle, we are a leader in Latin America in terms of our products. So our competition is global. No, I'm talking about companies like Samsung, LG, Electrolux, or Whirlpool. They also have a presence in every single country around the world. So you can see those brand names also in Latin America, Central America, and obviously in the US and Europe and Asia.
And Ramiro, we've often talked about the pressure or the competition coming also from the Asian competitors, the Korean companies as well. You still seeing that into the near future, that competition coming from those Korean companies as well?
Well, I believe that competition going forward is going to come more from China than from Korea, Rondo. Not only in our industry, and I think in one of your podcasts you're talking about the automotive industry, electric cars. Something similar is happening in our industry. No, there are several Chinese companies that are doing a very fine job in terms of developing household appliances. And I believe that their aim is to become global, no? Not all of them, but the most important ones. I mean, as I was sharing before, one of our big advantages is we have already a big partner in China, and we're working with them on many fronts in many aspects.
Terrific. So Ramiro, then, as you're probably aware, the main theme of the podcast here is the Insurgent Mindset, which is largely really about to help leaders look through the lens of the challenger in thinking about their business and how they interact with the environment and the it's almost the innovation of competition at some level, but also equip their teams to be more agile and dynamic in what really amounts to an incredibly complex and fast-changing environment. So it would be great to hear your reflections on, does that conceptual idea make sense for Mabe? And how do you think about the Insurgent Mindset in the context of your business, your growth challenges, competition, et cetera?
Sure. Of course, Matt. For me, insurgency is about challenging the status quo. It's about innovation, but more important, it's about staying close to our customers' needs. And we need to be cultivating what I would call an insurgent DNA, especially in large corporations like us, no? In a lot of occasions, it's very hard to keep this startup energy because of the size of the corporation. But we have the ways and means to make sure that different teams within the organization, are eager to bring innovation and new ideas, so we can discuss them, and they do become future projects. But again, in the end, it's about challenging the status quo, which is a challenge by itself on a big corporation like ours.
And
in a long-established industry.
Yeah, fair enough. Sorry,
Right.
Ron, didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
Ramiro, just unpacking a couple things you said, which are really, I think it was a great summary of really what we're trying to bring to the table here. One of the things was, how do you get closer to the customer? We have a term for that. We call it customer proximity. I know that your partner/competitor, Haier in particular, the zero distance to the customer is a big part of their DNA. Full disclosure that years ago I did some work with Haier on this. But I think it's a fascinating point that you bring up in a large distributed multinational sort of business, that works through an intermediary to the consumer. How do you bring that, create that DNA where everyone understands what closer to the customer means, and then how do they operationalize that? A very interesting point.
Sure. Well, staying close is about listening to the consumer, okay? Because in a lot of occasions, we may come up with what we think are going to be bright ideas in terms of product innovation, etc. But we need to test those ideas with real consumers, with our customers. So the process is the other way around. I mean, we have to listen to our consumers in terms of their needs. And then our teams, they need to work on transforming those ideas into something meaningful that we can incorporate into our products, no? But also we need to be close to our customers, because it is not about the product, it's about an integral service. I mean, how do you deliver the product? How do you, install the product? If the product has a failure, how do you go to that household and do the repair and add value? Because maybe you're gonna check something that is wrong with your range, but you can do preventive maintenance on your refrigerator. So how can you bring additional value to your consumers? So it's all about listening to those consumers, but also bringing those concepts and ideas into something meaningful, whether you're talking about business processes or products.
Yeah. Ramiro, how have you addressed that also from the perspective of your business model? I know you've made some adjustments within the international business. How has that helped you to get closer to your customer and the consumers?
Well, look, we are a global company, and that has a lot of complexities, no? Because typically what you see is an appliance is an appliance. So it's a refrigerator. The purpose of that appliance is to basically the conservation of food, no? So whether it's being manufactured in China or in Korea or in the US or in Latin America, in the end, what you need to understand are those similitudes, but more important, the differences on the consumers based on where they live and their customs, no? And in a lot of occasions, we make the mistake of, you know what, we have developed this nice appliance. It's working well in the US, it's working well in Canada. We can take that same unit and sell it in India and in the Philippines. But guess what? No. The customs, the way consumers interact with our appliances is quite different. The way they cook, the way they preserve food. So you really need to understand, and this is a big challenge, because in a lot of cases, what you're trying to do is to drive economies of scale within your factories. And if you're going to bring those consumer insights, those insights may affect the way you design and manufacture products. But in the end, if you don't listen to what your consumers require or need, you may be making a big mistake when you're launching a product in the global markets.
Interesting. And can you share an example of how Mabe maybe have had to make adjustments based on feedback from consumers in the market to either its approach to the market or its product portfolio? Any examples that you can share with our audience?
Sure. Before we enter a new market, we have already a process we follow. It is called action learning, no? Action learning meaning that we're not going to study a market from a textbook. We're going to do an in-depth research in that market, no? I'll give you an example. When we did this in India, no? we assembled a multifunctional team, people from Canada, people from Mexico, people from Italy, because we were joining forces back then with an Italian corporation to do this market study. And we spent close to 2 months in India, traveling to different places in the country. But it's not about traveling, it's about meeting with government officials, banks, retailers, supply chain operators or logistics operators, even the competition. So you can really understand the landscape of that market, no? But the most important part of this process has to do with the interaction with potential consumers, okay? So you make appointments to visit a consumer's house and to talk to the lady or the person that is actually in the house and have a nice conversation about how do you use your appliances? I mean, what is what you cook here? How do you store your food in your refrigerator? How often do you wash your clothes? What kind of equipment do you use? So you learn. So, for example, in India, what we learned, and this was quite interesting, first couple of visits to these houses, I was looking at the refrigerator, small refrigerator, probably was at 10 cubic feet, and with that old technology, cycle defrost, meaning that you can actually get ice in the freezer, not ice, I mean icy freezer.
Right.
So I was like, well, wow, this is a golden mine because these guys are using a very old technology that had even disappeared in Latin America, no? I mean, you haven't seen one of those in the US for probably decades, okay?
Right.
So I was like, well, golden mine because we can bring this new technology into the market, no? But I didn't understand actually why and we tested the concept and no frost refrigerators were already available in the country. So we were not the first ones to introduce the product. But in the end, after the third visit, I said, well, why? I mean, if you have the technology available, frost-free, which means you don't have to clean, you don't have to defrost your freezer, you can get rid of all that hassle. Why do you still prefer a cycle defrost unit? Oh, because power outages, because power goes on and off. You never know how many hours you're going to be out of power, electricity in your house. So this works like, I mean, we need to have that ice so we can preserve our food in the freezer. Wow, big learning, okay?
Right.
But you learn those things only by having a direct interaction with your consumers.
Right. That's important research. I want to shift gears and ask you, so taking that, getting closer to the consumer in mind, think a little bit and talk a little bit about your digital journey that Mabe has been on for the past couple of years. I know you've been focused on digital transformation. Can you talk a little bit about where Mabe is in this journey and what are some of the ways you're applying digital across the organization?
Well, this is a process that once you start with this, you never end. Okay,
Right.
It is a constant ongoing process. Okay, so yeah, probably we started with what we call the digital era 15 years ago, and it's been a big transformation. No, from internal processes to our interactions with distributors and also with consumers. No, now going forward, Rondo and Matt, AI is going to play a big role in the digital transformation of the company. No, and we're still in the process of figuring out what does that mean in terms of running a better business and our proximity to our clients.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are there some examples you could unpack, Ramiro? We're doing a lot of work in AI strategy, helping to apply AI to workflows in our client businesses. And, the stories I think are really interesting in terms of the use cases. I'd love to hear your thoughts. First, like, what's your taxonomy of how you think about AI and how it's applied in the business? Like, where are the main kind of categories that you're applying this technology in your digital journey, and what do you expect the benefits to be, and how do you manage the change process?
Sure, Matt. Well, AI is still a new concept for us, okay? So we're in the process of understanding and digesting, as I said before, what this means for the company. Nevertheless, we're making progress, okay? So we have visited several companies in Silicon Valley to understand what they're doing in terms of AI and the application of AI to different businesses, whether we're talking about processes or product development, okay? So I can share that we have found a couple of interesting concepts. We need to still work on them to make them reality. But for example, the digital factory, okay? It's like you can actually replicate one of your factories digital. So you can predict maintenance or predict when you need to change a key piece of equipment. Instead of the normal thing, which is we show up at the factory, we start up the lines and produce our products. This is like a live simulator that can speed up things. So you can project this machine, this pipe, whatever is going to fail in 10,000 cycles. So I know exactly when do we need to run preventive maintenance, okay? Instead of flying a technician from, I don't know, New Zealand or Germany to one of our factories here so we can get the proper advice on how to fix. So virtual reality is going to help us to do that instantly, okay? So that could be a practical application of AI. There's a lot of modeling. And also what I've learned is you need to cure your data. Because if you don't have quality data to work with, then the outcome could be a disaster, no? So that's an example of an idea that we're working on and that could be used in our manufacturing operations.
Are you
Circling
looking
back to
at also demand forecasting with AI? And you can combine that with your production process as well.
We're working on different fronts, okay? Yeah, AI, I just gave you an example on manufacturing, but we're working on different fronts. And here also what I've learned is that on AI, we need to educate. First, we need to educate ourselves because AI could mean something totally different for you compared to what I understand. So we need to educate ourselves, and especially the new generations. We need to basically let them work, let them, play with the tools so they can come up with something meaningful for the company. That is truly innovative, no? Insurgent, because we can create a company within a company, meaning like these young collaborators working, programming, doing things that in the end we need to validate and then implement, whether we're talking about process innovation or there are some different ways to interact with customers and consumers.
Yeah.
So again, we're on an early stage in terms of AI, but what I can tell you is we see the real potential, and it's going to be very important for us to incorporate those ideas into our business.
So Ramiro, I think you said two things that I wanted to explore a little bit further in terms of innovation in particular. So it almost sounds like you're suggesting that your innovation process is more, maybe if this is the right word, democratic. You're pushing that innovation down deeper into the business but also further out to the periphery of the business, almost at the frontier between the company and the customer. Can you talk a little bit about how, Mabe thinks about innovation and how that may have evolved over a period of time, and really what's next for innovation for Mabe?
Of course, Matt. I'd like to use an example from Hire to illustrate the point. Okay, Hire a few years ago introduced the concept of Rendan and Rendan is actually a philosophy in Hire. It has to do with the integration of employee value and user value. And let me explain that. Every employee should create value for users, and their success, and this is quite interesting, should be directly tied to how much value they create, even compensation. Okay? So if I'm working on a project or an idea, and it doesn't see the light of the day, maybe I'm not going to get not only my bonus, but my standard compensation. So it's a philosophy, no? So, and it's based on the concept that enterprise is all about people, but people are empowered by the enterprise. Okay? So it sounds really nice as a concept, but how can you translate that concept into reality? And you shared with me that you had done some work with Hire in the past, no? So zero distance to consumers and customer-centric approach. That is key. So I'll give you an example of a case of success from Hire. They have a company that is called Thunder Robot. Okay, it's a gaming division now. Okay, but how did this happen? Using the concept of Rentan Heyi, they empower a small team within Hire's PC division, a group of young people, gamers, to basically say, all right, you can do whatever you want in terms of developing this idea of a gaming business, okay? And they even have rules for funding. They have a rule of 0030, no? You get zero fixed salary, okay? There's zero funding prior the pre-approval of the business concept. And me or the employee should put at least 30% of the capital. So I have to have skin in the game, okay? Mm-hmm. So it's a totally different concept. It's a company within a company. You're basically actually developing this startup mindset within this huge corporation. So what happened in this case? Okay, these employees got to work on the business idea, and today this Thunder Robot is actually a gaming division of Hire. They started with this idea in 2013. It's a publicly traded division in China with a market cap of $450 million. So this is a great example of an insurgent mindset within, I wouldn't say that they are an incumbent, but within a large or big corporation. So we're also trying to replicate that in our own environment. How can we empower these teams to work on ideas, but with the mindset of the startup? No, I'm the owner of this business. I need to behave like I own this business, because if I do, then I'm going to put all my energy, all my passion, and I have also skin in the game because I need to put some money on my ideas, and then bring the idea to the table. Obviously, not every case is going to be a case of success like the one I just shared, but it's all about the concept.
So Ramiro, looking at that, then I'd be really interested to unpack the cultural maybe differences between Latin America and China in that regard. We haven't really talked much about culture here, but I think it's interesting to understand how maybe cultural factors in different markets impact these concepts of customer proximity, or to your point, this sort of distributed innovation?
Yeah, well, there's a saying, Matt, culture eats strategy for breakfast, no? And, and I truly believe on that, meaning obviously there are big cultural differences between China and Mexico, even between the US and Mexico, okay? Or even when you're looking at the Latin American countries, we may speak the same language, but our cultures are slightly different. Okay, so we need to start from there. And the first thing we have to do is we need to show respect to the values and to the differences in other cultures. Okay, that is the first thing, because if we respect the way they behave, the way they operate, and we try to understand a little bit about that culture, then we're gonna start, developing these common areas or common points. So, and this is from the general perspective. Business culture, obviously, our companies are different, but we have the same goal in the end. We need to win with our consumers. We need to, we're always looking to bring new products into the market, obviously increase our market share and the value to our shareholders, no? That is important, no? But so we need to recognize those differences and also accept the similitudes, and working day after day with your counterparts. You're going to end up understanding a lot of what is different, but also coming closer after a short period of time. No?
Very
Quick
interesting,
follow-up
Ramiro.
on culture, Ramiro, is how those cultural nuances affect your thinking about the insurgent mindset, and whether or not you'd see that either the take-up or embracing of the challenger ethos in your business varies significantly by culture, or is it more just about your business culture?
No, I believe that again in the end, and I'm pretty sure Matt and I have worked with Rondo in many occasions for several years. It has to do with first you as a person. No, you have to be open to new concepts and new ideas. You have to be open to learn about new cultures and adapt. Okay, if you're not open to do that, then you shouldn't be working with other companies in other parts of the world. No, if you're going to travel, then you need to learn about the country you're visiting. No, if and show respect for customs and traditions. Just because other people behave in a different way doesn't mean that your way is the best way. Okay? No, we're all different, but there are lots of similitudes. Once you understand that, then you're going to find that a lot of people around the world, we have more similitudes than differences, and we're looking in the end for the same. No, we want to live a happy life. I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm Muslim or Hindi or Catholic or Mexican or Filipino, whatever. So that's very important, very important. Now, on the business side, look, we also need to understand that in a lot of occasions we have to learn on the fly. That it is okay to make mistakes. Okay, that we need to work on quick experiments and trials. In a lot of occasions, those things are going to work. Maybe they're not going to work, but when they do, then we need to continue developing those ideas. That is common, especially with our partners in the US and in China. That's where I find a lot of commonalities.
Awesome, awesome. So, Ramiro, in the remaining minutes that we have with you, I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about supply chain. When you think about from the pandemic to geopolitical tensions to the Trump administration's tariffs, supply chains disruption we've been seeing waves and waves of that disruption over the past couple of years. So how is Mabe responding to those shocks, and how do you strengthen resilience across the organization, in particular within the international business as it relates to your supply chain?
Well, Rondo, the geopolitical scenario nowadays is quite unpredictable, no? So it is very difficult to do long-term planning in many ways, no? Trade wars, tariff restrictions, the wars. So everything is affecting the way you run your business. But it's, in my opinion, when you cannot do a long-term planning, then you need to be very alert and aware of what's happening today, so you can react tomorrow. That's key. So it's like if there's an announcement on a new tariff today, then we need to regroup quickly, understand, check with our partners, our customers, our clients, make sure that we are providing the right information and together, because this is not us. I mean, if the US is raising tariffs on Mexican-made products or European-made products or Chinese-made products, it is us with our partners and customers and consumers in the US. Because this is not my problem. This is our, not even a problem. This is not my challenge. This is our challenge. So it's about understanding what is happening day by day, but also having close communication with your partners and with your customers in the other countries, no? So in reality, we need to pivot and we need to have lots of flexibility. So if we thought that our game plan for that matter, our budget at the beginning of the year was achievable, well, there's no budget anymore. I mean, we need to work on the reality we're facing today, talk to our distributors, our consumers, and not consumers, our distributors and our business partners in different countries, and then make decisions in the short term. Long-term planning, obviously, is still valid, and to the best of our ability, and according to our planning cycles, we're going to get there when the time comes, no? But if we cannot actually have a good prediction on what is going to happen because of these uncertainties, then we need to keep taking decisions day by day.
So, Ramiro, in that kind of environment, what impact does that have on your resource allocation process? Like, how do you allocate resources in that kind of environment?
Well, resources are always scarce, no, Rondo? That is like a constant in every corporation, whether you're small or big, you know, there's always a scarcity of resources. But more than allocation, I believe that, again, it's about flexibility, no? If today we need to solve an issue because we need to really understand what a tariff is going to, what is going to be the effect on a tariff. So we need to organize around that concept. Then commercial teams need to be talking to our distributors and partners. The manufacturing teams need to understand where are they going to source X or Y material. Finance needs to be providing us with different financial scenarios. So it's about more than allocating more resources to a particular function or process. It's about flexibility and make sure that we keep doing what we have to do in terms of running the company, but also we need to focus on the particular task we have in front of us.
So as you look at, this, speaking specifically around the tariff issue, we're thinking about it more from a disruptive point of view, but are there opportunities as you look at, the future that you can see potentially coming out of this whole tariff disruption?
In every crisis or in every challenge, there's always an opportunity, always. And I'm convinced of that, no? We still need to understand what is the overall, I wouldn't say game plan, but what is the overall scenario in the future in terms of trade? What are going to be the new rules? Because in the end, this uncertainty is going to come to an end and there are going to be new rules. For example, in the case of North America, we understand that there's going to be an early renegotiation of the USMCA agreement. If that is the case, then we're going to come back to a clear set of rules to trade with the US and Canada. until that happens, we need to play it by ear based on whatever is happening every week, no?
Interesting, interesting. So in the final minutes, I thought, as we near the end of the conversation, Ramiro, it'd be great to have you share one hard-earned leadership lesson that you would give to executives looking to navigate disruption or drive innovation in a organization that's been well established and been around for many years. What's one hard-earned leadership lesson you would share?
Well, Rondo, I believe that during COVID, we changed everything, no? I mean, new ways to interact with each other, new terminology, no? I had never heard about social distancing, for example, no? And social distancing and work and study from home. So the pandemic forced us to be innovating, no? And I still remember when that happened, when the business was shut down and we had to go back to our houses. We had these internal meetings, with the leadership team about now what? I mean, because we don't know if we're gonna have to shut down our factories or if the supply chain is going to be in operation, so we can continue doing business. And I remember that this international division was the pioneer in the concept of remote work, because we have people Asia, Middle East, South America, North America. So in a lot of occasions, because of the time differences in the different time zones, but we had to wake up very early. I mean, ourselves had meetings at 6 a.m. in the morning, but then ending up the day having meetings in China at 11 o'clock at night. So we started pioneering this concept of working remote, working from home. And it was a hard sell internally when we started doing that, no? Because, we're used to looking at people showing up to work, looking at people sitting at their desk, doing something on the computer or in meeting rooms. So we thought that having people working from home, maybe they were not actually working and they were doing something different. When I say these things today, I mean, now it's normal, no? But back on those days, prior to the pandemic, it wasn't, and especially in a Latin American environment, no? Which is quite different to the US or Europe in this particular case. So we pioneered this process, and with reluctance, the corporation accepted we did this. And the lesson was, it's not about how many hours do you spend in front of your computer screen. It's about clear goals and clear deliverables. Now, you might say, well, Ramiro, that's management 101, okay? Clear goals, clear deliverables. But in the end, it has to do with culture and it has to do with trust. So in that respect, we were insurgents because we were breaking away from the traditional way of working and incorporating something new. So when the pandemic came, we already had a little experiment in this division so that we could actually spread to the rest of the corporation in a very different way, because now we were talking about all the countries, all the sites, etc. But again, the pandemic forced us to be innovating and adapt. And I'm just sharing this experience because we were kind of the first ones prior to what now we consider normal, no? Because even today, us, Rondo, we operate, and Matt, we operate on a hybrid mode. 3 days at the office, 2 days back at home, no? And flexibility is now part of our daily activities, daily processes. I mean, it's like if I don't need to be here because I can do the same somewhere else, it's fine as long as we deliver on the commitments and and deliver the results. No.
That's fantastic. Well, Ramiro, thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation. I appreciate the insights that you shared with our listeners on, how you see the insurgent mindset, your approach to, the supply chain challenges and the need for flexibility there, as well, and just how you think about innovation. So thank you for joining us today. Matt, any final thoughts for you from Ramiro?
Honestly, Rondo, I wish I had all day to talk to Ramiro about these. I've got a long list of additional questions that I'd love to explore. So, Ramiro, we may tap you on the shoulder to have you back at some point in the future. But very insightful and a lot of great takeaways for our listeners, and some good back to basics lessons too. So, I think that balance of just get the basics right, but also push the boundaries and get inbuild that agility and flexibility into the culture, for me, a really important takeaway. So thank you so much.
No, thanks to you for the invitation.
Thanks, Ramiro.
Have a great day ahead. Well, Rondo, that was a really great conversation with Ramiro. We covered so much territory in such a short time. I loved his insights about innovation, particularly pushing out closer to the boundary of the company and the customer, getting the ecosystem involved, but also, his story about hire, kind of bringing that innovation all the way down to the ground floor of the business and providing almost the company as a platform to, create opportunities for individuals to create new businesses. Really insightful. So almost, just a very rich, very nuanced conversation, and particularly also his insights about culture. I think we can explore that more because that multinational, multicultural kind of nuance that he talked about seems to play a huge role in how his worldview.
His worldview, absolutely. As you know, I've worked with Mabe and Ramiro for many years, and he's always sort of latched on to the concept of the insurgent mindset. I've always see him that way, and he sees himself that way, really pushing his team, the international team, to really think outside the box. He's always pushing that concept. So yeah, I was not surprised that he would do so well in terms of sharing his great nuggets with our audience today.
Yeah, and I think it also sort of underscores the importance of a business like Mabe, white goods, right? A traditional manufacturing business, kind of that steady as she goes industry, although there's a ton of competition. But I think it's, the idea that you can apply these concepts in traditional manufacturing businesses is really
Right.
refreshing to hear. We're not just talking about technology or, we had Andrew talk a little bit about, the insurgent mindset, in particular customer proximity in at the end of the life value chain in cemeteries. And now here we have a kind of a traditional industrial business. So to me, that's really nice to hear that some of these ideas have pervaded the fabric of so many different sectors of our economy.
Yeah, and I hope that, today's conversation has really inspired our audience to really think deeply about how they can push their organizations to be more insurgent, even established organizations, push them to be more insurgent-like. Bringing that idea, that concept to life in their organization will have, I think, long-term benefits for them.
That's great. Well, it'd be good to get Ramiro back at some point in the future. And, thanks for bringing that together. And certainly, again, to Ramiro and the people at Mabe, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great being with you.
You too, Rhonda. Look forward to our next go around, and we'll talk soon.